I think what Salesforce is starting to do, making it easier for companies to do philanthropy in a more process-focused way, is going to help create actually not just better philanthropic kind of donations and volunteerism, but kind of makes it a little more compelling to do business with people who have the same goals and aspirations from a philanthropic perspective. So if you're able to build or provide a platform that helps companies do more in terms of volunteerism and donations, I think that solidifies you in your communities, and that provides a better going beyond just a transactional relationship to more of a cohesive, full-throated relationship that could be good not just from a philanthropic point of view, but also from a business perspective. I think that's going to make you big.
Oh my God, I'm so in agreement with you on that. I am just so in agreement. I'll tell you what. Look, I mean, you and I both have seen a fair amount of Philanthropy Cloud, and honestly, of all the products Salesforce puts out, I think that's the one that might have the most impact eventually over time. I've never seen anything that I've been so excited about from them. And again, I love their other stuff's fine. I mean, it does the business stuff it's supposed to do, and I've seen every marketing automation product given there a 5,000. Was it 6,843 now? But I've seen a lot of them. I've seen a few. And I've seen marketing, sales, customer service, fine. All that's great. But this is a whole other thing. I mean, this embeds a social system as well as a philanthropic capability in any company that wants it, right? That reaches 1.3 million charities and all the people who are engaged in participating in those charities. Holy crap. And look, I mean, that's what the power of when Mark Benioff says, business is a force for change, which is why he doesn't want to run for office, at least for now, is because it is. But that's how it's a force for change, even more so than just the political stuff he's doing, right? And again, so far I've pretty much landed on his side in almost everything he's done politically. So, but that particular Philanthropy Cloud is enormously, the potential is staggering. The interesting thing too is that Salesforce's efforts in that vicinity have driven the other big four companies to do stuff. I don't know what Oracle's doing particularly, but I can tell you two interesting things. I saw Microsoft's nonprofit accelerator stuff not too long ago, and in the course of it, not only did I see kind of Y Combinator stuff for that, but I also saw, the actual technologies that are being built to work with nonprofits directly. Plus, I also saw just kind of the giving side of it. Microsoft told me that, I think it was 2017, or maybe it was actually 2018, but they had done, when it came to technology that they gave, time they spent, but the totality of philanthropic stuff, they did $1.6 billion worth of it. Yeah, and then I'm watching yesterday. I was watching, I forget which football game, probably Northwestern actually. Yeah, 31-20. What? Holy cow! But they had an SAP commercial, and it was Clive Owens, and he's on their spokesperson. It was actually they're very good commercials, kind of. But this one was Clive Owens talking about how do you go about, well, not how you go about, but kind of the approaches toward solving world problems. And it was specific, sustainability type problems, hunger type, just a variety of different big problems, the big problems. And then underlying it would be they didn't talk about SAP per se. Actually, the interesting thing was they basically, the only way you knew it was SAP was at the end, it basically said SAP, but other than that, it was how you use technology to solve or to help solve big world problems, which I've never seen them do a commercial like that. Usually it's run your business better commercials. This is say solve world problems more effectively without saying SAP is the one. It just said the use of technology. Really well done. But again, it's pressure from Salesforce coming in. Now, to both credit of SAP and the defense of SAP and Microsoft, they both have had long-standing efforts toward, SAP's case, sustainability, Microsoft's toward nonprofit and charities. But what Salesforce is doing is changing the message, right? And that's something that that's undeniable about their work, and it's so impressive.
I would say
that's humanization, man.
Yeah, I would say it's not only changing the message, but it's putting the spotlight. It's actually making it a core business function and foundational to their business the way that they do it. I mean, the first couple of minutes at Dreamforce during his keynote, you didn't hear anything about platform, features, functionalities. It was talking about the things you said, and I think the more, of course, the more the leader in any industry focuses in on something, everybody has to focus in on it. So by putting a spotlight on philanthropy and saying it's kind of, and it's foundational to them, as Scott is putting in a comment, it's their 1-1-1 approach. So it's been there from the beginning. But now it's almost sort of like, how Amazon, they do things, they build technologies for their internal use, and then once it's perfected, they roll it out to their customer base. It almost feels like this is what Salesforce has done. They've had this 1-1-1 approach. It has totally worked for them. I mean, the numbers are staggering. I mean, when Benioff and Parker, they got together and I guess embedded 1-1-1, at the beginning. All right, giving 1% of your profits. That's not hard to do since you don't have any profit. So doing it early on has made it possible for them, when they have these big, revenue and profit streams, because it's already built in, you're not feeling like you're missing anything or you're taking anything away. It's just the way it is. So maybe it's easy to get it going from the beginning. But I think to Salesforce's credit, there are so many companies who I think have been around or have different circumstances, but want to do something, and they know their employees want to do something, and maybe the only thing that was keeping them from doing as much as they think they could is having a platform that makes it easy to roll it out. And I think this philanthropy cloud, I mean, some people say, is it really a cloud? I'm just going to say, whatever they're doing, they're trying to make it easier for companies, their customers, and beyond, to be more, to put philanthropy into their core business and make it easy for them to do that. And I think that is something that's huge.
You're nailing it, actually. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm writing this piece called The Humanization of Salesforce. It's taken me a month and a half, but well, it's about 9 pages now, and I'm going to try to finish it up this week. But it pretty much said, from your standpoint, from what you just said, you take a look at the keynote at Dreamforce. That was, to me, at least, the single most significant keynote Salesforce has ever done, and there's a reason for it. You look at the difference between it and any other one they've ever done first. Number one was the only product announcements were, and it's the way they were done too, was Philanthropy Cloud and Einstein Voice. But Einstein Voice was done by the chief quality officer in that video. I mean, it's not it was a chief of quality officer doing that. Right?
And he did an awesome job with it.
It was one of the. It was. You want to talk about human, man? There's like an actual person at Marriott, as opposed to a demo of Einstein Voice. But that's the thing. But it was chief of quality and philanthropy. That's number one. Number two is if you look at the history of every single Dreamforce keynote before that, there was always one charity that was focused on. Someone was brought to the stage, the president or CEO of the charity. They would talk about the charity, and everybody would give money or have some means to give money, and that would be that. This time there wasn't, because the whole theme was on getting out there and doing good. Good with a capital G, right? And Mark's entire speech was built around that.